base that I had for the Optishot originally is plastic, and if you club it a few too many times, it all cracks and breaks, and then the machine doesn't work properly anymore because the sensor pad is moving around. So what I did was I made one out of metal that's the same dimensions, welded it up. This is part of the board, keeps the board off the metal, and then that's the base, which I made up as well, and that screws into place. I've threaded the holes in the metal base so the screws go up into there, and then the board is there. The board sits this way, sorry, this way. There's the port for the USB, so that goes that way, and these get screwed in, and then this, just a chunk of rubber with a piece of fairly thick PVC tubing that goes down in there, holds the T in place, and it doesn't break the T's nearly as much as it used to. And then sometimes the T's would get locked in there and you have to take it apart to get them out, so that was a bit of a pain. Did I mention that having to replace the plastic base for the Optishot sensor is $200? That's what it is. So I've modified it, as I said before, metal with these fairly thick PVC tubing, cut them off. There's a couple different lengths. Put in a different length depending on how high I want the T to be. The T fits loosely in there, so it drops in. So that's why I made the different lengths of tubing. So this one works for a driver. Could be a little bit longer for my new driver, which has less loft. And this one's more for like irons and so on. The carpet is just cheapo turf carpet. Nothing special. I've mounted it on a base which is 2 inches thick. I think it's 2 inches, 1.5 inches, plus 2/4 for the plywood, so that it matches evenly with the height of the pad over to here. So trying to keep everything as close to on the course as possible. So this is a actual shop I work in, not for money but for hobbies and for routine maintenance. So this side is mostly where I do carpentry, but I do also bring vehicles in here to service. This is actually the service side over here for vehicles, but the Cadillac moves under its own power, but I haven't completely finished underneath, so that's why it's still up on rollers, so it can be moved around. Soon I hope to have it off of there. I have a few parts coming, but it progresses. So if I set this up here, then the projector goes against the white screen. It's too light in here now, you can't see it at all. All you've got is, I can see, but you probably can't see in the camera, which is the target is moving up and down to indicate where you're aiming. It is better with the lights turned off. It's kind of low light golf, but I think I may just have to find an old projector screen and put it up in the corner, and then this will just be the hitting net. But you can see all the results on the monitor, which is just behind. So everything is stored here. I will cover this with a blanket after it's all turned off. Put that shelf up today. It's got chains on the side to hold it, so there's no way it will sag or break off. It's got a 2x4. It's actually a piece of old pallet wood underneath. It allows a little more clearance for things. And then the keyboard and the mouse. And then the speakers, you can hear the birds chirping away. The projector is up here. I will have to have a cord coming down. I did have it wired to an outlet up there, but unfortunately I can't separate that from the lights. So it only turns on when the lights are on, and then the lights make it too bright in here to see anything on the screen. Some further adaptation, I think. And then I may just move the projector more forward so it's brighter. Which I could do anyway, but then the cord is in the way, so further changes to come. But that's the basic idea. It's a Optishot. It's functional. I've used it lots in a different garage. I just finished setting it up in this one, but I haven't actually used it for about 4 years due to finishing a house and moving and cleaning the garage and all the rest of it, and then building this one. So it's nice to get it back. Hope you enjoy. Hope this encourages you to set things up. The actual cost of things is about $20 for the tarp, which is just a cheap white tarp. I did have canvas before from a canvas building that was white. I'm not sure what happened to that in the move. Somewhere it went away. But I've got some netting that I bought which protects the canvas. It does cut a little bit of the image, but it's not bad. I'd rather have the net there than have the canvas ripping and then busting windows and dinting doors and so on. So I've just got this up the top. It's got some U-bolts through the outside rail because nothing runs in the outside rail. The inside rail has the casters for the door. So it doesn't interfere at all. The door can go up and clear the canvas. I can roll it all up quite easily. So I've just got tied halfway down for the net to give it some rigidity so it doesn't throw the canvas against the door and possibly break a window. And I had 3 old drop sheets which I just hung in here as well to just add a little more resistance, slow the ball down a bit more. So functional, not too expensive to build. I did have to make the new base though, but if you're more consistent than I am at hitting the club, then, and your friends too, then you probably won't destroy the plastic base. So the Optishot, when I bought it, it was about $400 Canadian. Now it's about $400 US. I've probably had it about 6 years, and it is functional. The computer is just an old one that I scrounged out years ago. I paid $80 for it at the time. It's Windows 7, but that's all that's needed. It had a graphics card in the back, which is perfect. That runs the graphics. It has multiple USBs, so it works. And then I could use a bigger monitor, but that one's fine. Hope you found that interesting and helpful. I have to make a few minor changes, but this is where I'm leaving it, I think. Got the thin turf. It's set up now for a right-hand golfer. The Optishot pad is here, pointing towards the screen. The white tarp is it's not reflective enough for the projector that I have, for the video projector. Apparently I need one with more lumens. I thought I was getting a fairly powerful one, but it's pretty anemic even with the windows blocked up, and short of playing at night, all you can get is a rough idea of what it looks like where you're hitting. But I've changed the netting. I've overlapped the 2 pieces that I had. One is about twice the length of the other. So I just put that there because if we hit the door, it bounces wildly, or a wild shot, of course, will shoot off to the side. So I wanted to protect the window a little bit more, so I brought it back. I will tie it further back at the bottom. I've just got it held with rope. It seems to work quite well. I don't think I'm in any danger of breaking the windows in the door. The 3 drop sheets behind the tarp, plus the 2 layers of netting, seem to keep the ball from going with any great velocity against the door. So that works. Try not to be too destructive. Previously, when I had it set up in my garage, it was a much smaller space, and the car I'm restoring was right beside, so I had a couple of sheets of plywood against it and some tarps over top. But it's amazing how a golf ball glancing to the side can find, or bouncing off a wall, can find a gap between pieces of plywood. So I gained a few dents, which I had to take out once I got here. So after about 4 years, I've set it up again. It's nothing pretty. It's strictly meant to be functional and easily moved so that I can lift it up when I have to bring a vehicle in, or wood or anything like that. So it serves its purpose. It seems to be working just fine. So that's one way to set up a home golf simulator. Total project cost is probably around $600. That includes the purchase price of the Optishot. Or maybe $700 when you include the computer and any rope, hooks, that kind of thing. So here's the computer setup. Don't look too closely at the scores. Never anything to be proud of. And the computer sits up top with the speakers. Here, giving their nice mellow music. For some reason on the home screen I've got some interference, but it disappears when I go to the game, so I'm not worried about that. And then the keyboard up on top, the mouse. I could use a little more room in there. It's a bit hard to move around the screen. I'll work on that. I might make a little platform out to the side. My wife doesn't want me encroaching on her pottery space, so there's the line, which I'm already a little bit over. It's always better to get forgiveness and permission. So I hope that helps. You don't need anything fancy to enjoy it. And this is not really a man cave. This is a place where we do our hobbies. So that's its main function. The golf is strictly a little bit of enjoyment, something to do once in a while, gain a little practice with some feedback on my swing. Have fun!